So as we sit and connect with your breath. So a lot of times when we think about meditation and the spiritual practice, we think about going up to the mountaintop, get to the highest, because we talk about the bigger energy. We talk about the, moving towards the highest, and certainly the building up from the feet first all the way up to the head. This is transcendence. So we're always thinking up, but actually to get here, up here high, means you have to go deep inside. You have to go down and down. And often when we get in there and we close the eyes and we settle, it gets uncomfortable. I think somebody referred to it as being locked in a closet with an angry, wet cat and something crazier. I don't know, but it's crazy in there sometimes, and which is why not sometimes, I would say once we close the eyes and get quiet, it's just crazy in there. So the practice, that's why it's so hard to stay steady. It's why we jump to the external. It's why I walked up in the middle child who's 12, grandchild who's 12, was upstairs with some of her friends in the playroom. They have a nice big playroom and it has like a fold-out bed or a blow-up bed, things like that. Well, I think there were 5 girls in there, I'm not sure. It was kind of cool. 3 of them were like nestled under a comforter in one of the beds. Other 2 or 3 were on the couch. It was dark, and every single one of them was on their phone. And yet they craved to be together. And I'm still trying to unpack that. But it's that notion of, it's so much easier to reach for the phone than it is to look into someone's eyes and to say what's in your heart. That's so much harder. So we'll practice today with the going deep, with the being aware of what's deep. And when you think you're in that closet with someone with bipolar and a crazy, wet, angry cat, that's where you are. Just be there. That is a radical act of courage, to be fully present in your little dark closet with all the crazies, all the furies. Wasn't that the ancient Greek would talk about the furies? And it's often why if you've ever done therapy, there's a point in there which feels really good in the beginning, and then you get to the hard stuff, and the tendency is to say, I'm done, this isn't working anymore, rather than to stay. So when we're in poses, and nothing will be too intense, but be aware of when you want to escape, when you want to run for the hills. And that doesn't mean you don't pull out of the pose, but it means you do it with a consciousness of sweetness and awareness. Being very sensitive, not to just like, oh, I feel sensation, but what kind of sensation do I feel? And when we're sensitive, when we go deep and we stay deep, that's where the heart is. That's where we connect to the bigger energy. That's where we connect to that which sustains us beyond our iPhones and our trips to the Tony Moly store. And that's what sustains us when all the power goes off. And that's the whole point of yoga. So draw your palms together in front of your heart center. Nice breath before Om. Inhale. Release your hands. Flutter your eyes open. And the thing we do is we start with the cannoli roll. There I go, talking about food. So you can do it with 1 blanket if that's all you have, but I do love 2. And I reverse them so the fringe is at each end so that it doesn't get too lumpy. And then if you pull the top blanket slightly forward, because it will, wait, top blanket slightly forward. Yeah. Fold that one over and then make a nice tight little roll. Yep, that's it. Smoothing it out. And then the top blanket evens out with the bottom one eventually. And seam side down. The long way on, so where you'll have your bum will sit at one end and your head will be at the other. Clear the space around you. We'll be using the arms. So you're not knocking over your water if you have it. And then sit way down on the far end, especially if you're tall. So Mary, be sure you have safe room for your head. And you support yourself, knees are bent for right now. And the head is on the blanket. The blanket roll. You can do a little, I find it hard to do a bump. Mary, if you feel like you want to raise your head, just put another blanket across the top or put a block under the roll. And then here, just rock back and forth. It's not as intense a massage as the balls are. Still quite effective. So you rock slightly side to side. It's almost a little twisty. If your hips go left, your chest and heart need to spin a little bit right. Otherwise, you'll roll completely off the roll. So, and the head soft, it kind of wobbles side to side. And just rock. Until gradually we invite the muscles in the back to relax and release. So Jill said she was on her loom. She's a weaver. I love weavers. And that causes you to hunch over. If you've been on the computer a lot, then that causes you to round and overextend the muscles in the back. This is allowing them to soften and contract a little bit. You'll notice gravity pulls the head of the arm bones towards the floor, just naturally, and the chest opens. You can get a fuller, deeper breath. And gradually bring yourself to stillness right in the middle of the cannoli roll. And with the arms down at your side, palms facing your body, inhale and very slowly stretch the arms overhead. And it can be in a wide V if your shoulders are tight. Maybe the thumbs touch the floor, maybe they don't. And then slowly bring them down. And notice as you do this, do it slowly enough that you can notice how the shoulder blades change, what they do to enable you to rise up and to lower. Also notice what your bottom ribs do. The tendency is, as the arms go overhead, for the bottom ribs to lift up. Counter that a little bit the next time the arms come up. When the arms are down, the side ribs move down towards the floor. Keep them down, bottom ribs move towards your pelvis and stretch that way and notice, oh, a little core work engages. Still very gentle. It's morning, it's cold, and we want to be kind always. So I have to remind myself over and over that I have to treat myself at least half as well as my friends treat me. I wouldn't be friends with me if my friends treated me the way I treat me. And just notice, just that a little engagement of the ribs. Small things mean something, they matter. And then the next time the arms are up, bring them out in a cactus pose. Maybe they come to the floor, mine don't, but just let the elbows and the hands move towards the floor. And notice I feel a big stretch across the armpit, chest, across the arms. And let the weight of the arms, it can be hovering off the floor. And then extend, so keep the legs strong and tilt the sits bones towards the floor a bit. Pull the belly button down towards the spine, but the back waist is touching the blanket, but not trying to press into it. Bottom ribs slide down and towards the floor. Keep that. And as your arms in cactus pose, pull the shoulder blades, just the shoulder blades, hug the cannoli roll. And then inhale, soften. Exhale, hug the cannoli roll. Oh. Inhale, soften. So a little more work. Keep hugging the cannoli roll just with the shoulder blades, but the arms have to be active to do that. If the arms are floppy, it's hard to engage the shoulder blades. So you're just pulling the shoulder blades together, hugging the roll, and softening and releasing. It's kind of pulling together, moving apart, pulling together, moving apart with the breath. Are you feeling the warmth there? I'm feeling a lot of warming up right back there. So if you've been working hunched over, this is a really nice little counter curse. And then the next time you pull in, be more aware, keep the ribs down, mine keep popping up, ribs down, belly button in. The bottom tips of the shoulder blades hug more as the tops of the shoulder blades spread apart. Now there's an interesting bifurcation. See if you can pull more through the bottom tips of the shoulder blades and widen the tops of the shoulder blades. Notice what happens. Soften the jaw, soften the neck, and then release. Oh, the arms, and just roll side to side. I don't know about you, but I found that to be fairly strenuous for not standing up. And then roll your way to your side. Take your time coming up. You might feel a little dizzy. None of that. And unroll. I don't know the last time I had a cannoli. Did you? Jill had one a few weeks ago and she's still enjoying it. It's Italian dessert. It's like a pastry with cream and then they drizzle something on the top. Chocolate or that's cannelloni, yeah. Yes, cannoli sweet, cannelloni savory. All right, for me, we'll do this kneeling flow, paying particular attention to the shoulder blades. Do your shoulder blades feel nice and warm? I really feel quite nice. And that's a sweet kind of exercise, like not as painful as the balls, because I know some people cry when they do that. All right, kneel on blocks. Kneel on it, have your blocks near you, a bit wider, that's more the outer shoulder width apart, not so close, more towards, and even wider if your shoulders are particularly tight, you can adjust that. So we'll do this movement that we've done where it's actually a Vini yoga sequence that I learned years ago that I love. I keep my back toes tucked because that allows me to keep the legs strong. So the legs are strong. I'll show you before you guys go down online. Let me show. So we'll come up just to show you, then place the hands here to like extended child, then come forward, you claw in and here, then a little lower, hug the elbows in, we'll come up to like up dog, then back, and then up with the breath. So it's like sun salutation without your feet. But keeping the toes tucked helps me engage. If you can keep the engagement, I just find it easier if the feet are also engaged. Take a breath, steady. Close the eyes a moment and go in, go deep. I'm very aware of subtle changes in the body as you move through this sequence. Flutter the eyes open, inhale, rise up. As though someone's pulling you from the belt, the hips go back as you reach for the blocks and come into an extended child's pose. Next, inhale, come forward into up dog. You can keep the knees down or lift your knees. Elbows hug in and pull back and stretch the heart forward. Be brave. And exhale, little forward push up, little mini chaturanga. Inhale, back up to up dog. Exhale, back to child. Use the core as you pull up and rise up to your knees and release your arms. Again, inhale, rise up. Exhale, stretch it out as though someone's pulling your belt back, but you reach for the blocks. Claw the blocks as you stretch forward into up dog. Bend the elbows, pull them back. The legs have to work here tailbone down. Exhale, little mini chaturanga. Inhale, back up to up dog. Legs working here. Exhale, shift back. Use the core and lift up all the way to your knees. Exhale the arms down. One more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale. Pull back. Someone's holding you from your belt. Stretch out long, 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 long. Hips go way, way back. Fingertips go way, way forward. Pull the shoulder blades onto the back. Keep the bottom tips hugging towards the midline as the outer shoulder blades are moving apart, the top of the shoulder blades, and shift forward into up dog. Exhale, mini chaturanga. Notice how that changes the shoulder blades. Don't let them slide off too much. Back to up dog. And exhale, child's pose. Inhale, use the core as you rise up. And release. All right. Using a whole sequence here, all due to my friend Maria. All right. Come to hands and knees with the hands on the block. So one of the things that I'm enjoying the blocks, I was playing with them while I couldn't put my head below my heart there for a while, but I'm really liking them and Maria's been using them. So I recommend that you put the index finger goes along the inside so the thumb can go all the way down. Jill, you find that easier too, right? I like that. So when we do dog on the block, I just slide my palms back a little bit so they come more to the outer edge and I can push down and forward. But here they can be fully on it because we're not coming to dog yet. Again, outer shoulder width apart, wider. So you could go right down between the blocks. And from here, stretch your left leg out into a gate pose. I'll show you from the front. All right, to gate pose. And just from here, we're doing cat-cow, rounding and arching. Now, the left foot, you're pressing the inner edge of the left foot firmly into the ground and then stretch the outer edge down and begin to round and arch. And just note when I do cow pose, feel a stretch in the inner thigh. Use the hips, make the hips do the work. Cat-cow. And then while we're here, keep the left leg where it is. And inhale the left arm up and exhale, thread it through. So you're not coming all the way down onto your shoulder because the block is too far up. Inhale up, exhale under, threading the needle. With the breath, good breathing. Working the torso. The leg stays stable. Notice the tendency when you thread the needle, when you go under, the tendency is to lift the outer, the baby toe side of the foot up. Keep it down. And then you come through center, pause there. Come up, bend your left knee in, so this kind of pose. And interlace the hands behind the back. So press down through the feet, hug the legs towards each other. So you engage, hug the muscles to the bones, and then curl back. Again, now you're really squeezing the shoulder blades in, pull the belly in, bottom ribs down, lift the heart, open the chest. So as the weather gets colder, this is what I call breaking the ice. You're really popping the chest open. It feels so good. And you can take fuller, deeper breath and release. Left elbow to the left thigh. So you're kind of leaning in like some dramatic storyteller. Top arm comes up and over. And stretch. Keep it there. And then inhale, stretch it away. So it looks like this. You're going towards the leg or two. Next inhale, catch it back and stretch it away from the leg. Take a breath, change. Take your time, really slow-mo, and move the arms from the shoulder blades. So since we work the shoulder blades a lot, can you sense that the arms are moving all the way from the shoulder blades, essentially moving from T12, your 12th thoracic vertebrae? And that's right close to the bottom tips of the shoulder blades, right, Lele? If I can add it from Lele properly. That's right. I have to give myself a pop quiz or two. And then just rest, do an open, you're shifting the hips. The knee might come slightly forward to the ankle, but not a lot. Walk it out as you need to, just to stretch the inner groin. Back leg stays strong. If the back leg collapses, then the hips are going to feel unstable, unsafe. So you hug in as you stretch. Nice. All right, straighten the left leg, turn towards it. Here's where you may want blocks. We work this side enough. Now we have to remember the other side when we go over. Use the blocks wherever you need to so the back can be long. Oh, front leg is straight, left leg is straight. Pull the left heel back towards your right knee. The right knee kind of slightly tugs forward towards the left heel. And then if you want a little bit more, you pick the blocks up and over to the other side to stretch out the QL, all the side back muscles. And inhale, come back to center. Now we have to do that all again on the other side. All right, right leg is out. The hands, the blocks can be at any level that you want them. I like them on their lower level, they're less tippy, so I'm not gonna have an accident. Jerry, can you flop it all the way down and walk them a little forward so you give yourself some space? A little bit more, be brave. Come all the way out. That gives you more space to do cat-cow. There you go. Now press the whole circumference of the palm on the block. The thumb squeezes the side of the block. The fingernails, finger pads under the fingernails kind of claw in like you want to see an impression there. And then cat-cow from here, round and arch. Note, dig the inner edge of the right foot into the earth and stretch the baby toe side of the foot towards the floor as well. And notice with cat-cow, unless you're super stretchy, you should feel a little stretch in the inner thigh. If you're not, it's probably meaning that you're not moving your hips, you're just dropping your head and shoulders. So it's from the hips. Hips tuck, hips slide back. Oh, yeah. What? Is there cursing? Is there mutter? Crap? All right. We had a holy crap moment. All right. Now thread the needle. So the left hand is down, the hand opposite to your straight leg. So right arm up, right leg out, and thread under. Stretch as far as you can. And notice here, you might feel a stretch on the inner thigh, working the outer right foot. Then inhale, rise up. Do this at your own pace. Nice, easy work slowly so you know when you've let go of something. And you're rotating the torso up, rotate the torso to the other side. So it's all torso. It's not just arm, it's torso. More torso, Jerry. Yeah, more. Reach it under there. All right. All right, what did we do next? Okay, I remember. All right, come up. Come into your bit knee, sort of making a right square in the negative space of your legs. Interlace the hands behind the back. Shrug the shoulders. Draw your bottom ribs in. The ribs and the belly want to pop out here. You want to give into this. So pull them back. Head of the arm bones move back. Keep the elbows soft, not locked straight, and stretch open and back. Oh, soften the neck and jaw. Move the head a little bit if you're feeling there's tension there. And open. Lift the heart. Knuckles are moving towards the floor behind you. Oh. Open that. And inhale, release. Right elbow to the right thigh. And then stretch up and over. Inhale. Oh, and then inhale up. And exhale, windmill slowly to the other side. Next, inhale slowly up. Do it from the shoulder blades. That's what's moving you. Think about the shoulder blades or this gear that are moving you side to side. The arms just follow, right? You could do it without the arms. In tango, we often have to do it without holding on to the other person to make sure that the torso is doing the leading. It's an interesting exercise. You can scramble your brain. Yeah, Layla's taking it way down and over. If that's where you want to go there, but not required. Feels nice though. Oh. And then the next time you come up, wait for it, turn towards your your right leg, straighten it. Now it's straight. Blocks on either side as high as you need them. Press the heel into the earth and step on the gas a little bit with the right foot, particularly the big toe ball. Pull the baby toe side of the foot back towards your outer right hip. Inner thighs move back wide and apart and fold, lengthening the spine. So not about rounding here, but tilting the hips. So the hips are tilting the as-is bones. And yes, Sherry sent me the name of them, and I've already forgotten the anterior. What is it, Layla? Anterior superior iliac spine. As is so much easier. Yeah, I can forget that now. I can drop that out of my hard drive. It was taking up too much space. No room for the games. All right, if you want to walk to the outside edge, that's a nice thing. If it feels good, gives a nice left side stretch. So the inner thighs are equally moving back towards the wall behind you. Oh, drop your outer right hip down. Tends to want to hike up, and then step on the gas with the big toe ball, pull the baby toe back. Oh my gosh. And release. Whew. Blocks out, outer shoulder width apart, walk your knees back, come into dog on blocks. So this is where I slide my palms back to the outer edge to kind of hang off the outer edge so I don't slip. Then stretch it out. And work the heels towards the floor and lift them up. Work the heels towards the floor slowly, and work them up. And continue. So to go deep, we have to slow down. We have to pay attention. And sometimes I feel the urgency to pull off of that often. It's a practice. And then next exhale, walk your hands back to your toes, full or half forward bend. A little heart wave. So the heart wave means it's a little cat-cow. So a little cow back and a little cat back. It can be very tiny, just staying halfway up. Or you can do full all the way down and halfway up. Whatever works for you. You can find a lot of work, a lot of good, juicy things going on, very small or larger. Next time you're up, hands on your hips, shrug your shoulders, lift the head of the arm bones, and rise up. Whew. Nice. All right, plant the feet. You stand wherever you want to. That's comfortable. We're not moving. Feet a little outer hip width apart. So here are my hips. The inner edge of the feet roughly line up with the outer hip bones, not what you think your hips are. My feet would be out here if I did what I thought they were, but feel comfortable. All right. And then through the four corners of the feet, shift your weight back into your heels, soften the knees, inner thighs move back, tailbone down, lengthen up. So the legs are pressing down, hugging in. Inhale the arms up and exhale. Lift your left arm up, just bend it across. The right arm comes up and over, takes hold of the elbow, and then the left arm can go down the back. So the head is pressing into your left forearm. Push the head into the left forearm and pull up. Now we're adding things to it. So the legs are strong. Come into a soft chair pose, not a big one, but a bit of a chair pose. Oh, and push the head into the arm to get more of a cobra back. And then the same, your left arm, take your left leg behind you in a kind of curtsy. You're about this far away. And it's behind you. Bend both knees bend out, and stretch over to the right. Keep pulling. So your legs are kind of crossed in behind you. Yep. Nice. This is a Maria move. She has. Inhale. So I used to take a bar class from, well, I did it a couple of times because she made me a little crazy, but this woman in bar, you do the curtsy, you do this because it's very ballet-like. And she, I don't know where she was from, but English was not her native language, but bless her, she spoke better English than I could any other language. But she kept calling the curtsy a cootsie. So of course, we're all just dying laughing, but we're trying not to laugh at her because she's really lovely. But now we all call it the cootsie. So we can cootsie if we want to. Right, notice the difference between the two sides. Very simple move. All right, your right arm. So it's like you're patting your back of your neck. Then the left hand pulls the elbow up and in towards the head. Push the back of the head into your right forearm. Keep that, push it back, and soften the knees. Now, from the feet, draw up into the core of the pelvis and hug the heels towards each other. Move the inner thighs back and take a seat. So you're coming into a chair pose. And then the right leg crosses behind you and bend the knees into a cootsie. Then stretch over towards the left, towards your back foot. Actually, your back foot is crossing over to the left. Oh, yeah, breathe, keep pushing. This is where my head wants to fold forward. Don't give into it. And release, shake off. All right, here's another weird one. This one actually is not a Maria, but it's inspired by Maria. All right, have a block near you. So we've done a couple of little chair poses, right? So you'll shift the weight back in the heels. Now these are the one-legged chair poses. So you'll place your left foot on the block, but almost no weight on it. It's just there. It's just touching, but I'm not putting any weight on it. All the weight now is on the right foot. Hands on the hips. You guys, they're doing sign language back and forth. All right. All right, yeah, well, you can do that, but yeah, you could do that. You could do it on tiptoes if you want to, that works. Shift your weight back into your right heel. Feet, yeah, and if it helps a little bit to have it out, that's okay. Actually, Jill put me in an interesting, so I was starting parallel, but if the right foot's a little forward, it will be a tiny bit easier. I mean, the left foot's a little forward. It'll be a little easier. It doesn't matter. Shift your weight back and open the heart, hug the elbows towards each other. You can keep the hands here. You can reach out for help and then just lift the left sole of the foot. It may still touch the block, but it's up. This is kind of almost a Tai Chi move. Almost. Oh, and release. Hugging the outer hip flexor there. So you really got to hug in. The standing leg will tend to, my tendency is if I'm here, I'm exaggerating, but I'll tend to kick the hip way out. So your standing leg hip has to hug in. The glute has to really work. All right, so you're just reminding your right foot that it's not going to take weight. Shift your weight back, take the bum back to the wall behind you. Hands can stay on the hips, or you can reach out for a cantilevered balance. Shift back, pull the head of the arm bones back, lift the chest. Hug already, I can see the hip is moving out. So hug it in. That is a strong tendency. And then just find balance. You can keep touching the block. It doesn't matter, just don't put any weight. If you want to keep the whole sole of the right foot on the block, that's fine. There's just no weight on it ever. Oh, burn, baby, burn. And release. Oh. Yeah, interesting, huh? All right. Come down to your bellies. Have a block near you. Right, all the way to your belly. Now, if you want, Jerry, I would suggest for you to take the blanket, and the blanket hits you right kind of between the pubic bone and below the breast. That will give you a little leg up, in a sense, a chest up. Otherwise, you can do it flat. And then with the block on its lowest level, rest your forehead on the block. Just the edge of the forehead, just enough to support it so the head does not hang down low. Now soften the heart. So Jerry, you can turn the block up a notch so you're not rounding. Try that. Now soften through the heart. Widen your elbows apart. Oh yeah, do you feel that in the back a little bit? Nice. All right. So from here, then stretch the legs long behind you. Click all 10 toenails on the ground. Hug the inner heels towards each other without moving them closer to each other. And move the upper inner thighs wide apart muscularly and up towards the ceiling. Then the tailbone lengthens, pull the belly button up and in. Keep this, stretch the arms down by your side. So you remember when we were on cannoli roll and we did the arms, sort of sun arms up and down and made the cactus arms? Same thing, imagine that your shoulder blades are hugging the cannoli roll. The head's just resting on the block. Lift the belly as much as you can. It will not come off, but you're keeping it engaged. And stretch the arms like sun arms all the way up towards your head, and then slide them back down towards your side. Inhale as you lift your arms. Exhale as you lower them. Just working the muscles of the back. Be aware as though when you were on the cannoli roll, keep hugging the shoulder blades, bottom tips towards each other, and move the arms from the shoulder blades. And notice as you pay attention to the arms, my baby toenails curl up off the floor. Just happens. Keep working through the legs. And then the next time you come halfway out, come into cactus arms, lift the elbows, lift the hands. So the hands aren't on the floor. The hands and the elbows are in the same line. Now stretch the legs back, lift the legs from the inner edge of the thighs, lift the elbows, lift the hands, and maybe the head gets light. Maybe it hovers off the block, maybe it just gets lighter. And breathe here. Whew. Oh, and release. Shift back, child's pose. Release. You can rest your forehead on a block in child's pose or all the way on the floor, whatever feels good for you. And inhale your way up. Flip over on your back. Keep a block easy to hand. Find your strap. Roll all the way on your back. You can also make the T blanket with the narrow blanket folded one way, then along the spine, and then the other one. It's a nice way to keep the head slightly lifted. I like that, and then it just rolls right into Shavasana. So do that if you wish. Don't need a loop. I mean, if you got one, you can keep it, but don't need it. All right. draw your right knee in, put the loop around the sole of the right foot, slide your hands down the strap until the elbows come to the floor. Upper arms are on the floor, snuggle the shoulder blades in towards each other, particularly the bottom tips, and broaden the tops of the shoulder blades. The left leg is neutral, neither leaning out nor knocking in. It can stay bent or you can straighten it if you want a little more work. And then gently with the back, notice as the toes of the right foot start to come towards the head, the back waist begins to collapse into the floor. So it may come closer to the floor, but resist it. Belly button in, side ribs towards the floor, bottom ribs towards the hips, and just good stretch along the hamstring. And then I'll turn towards the camera. You guys might have to look at this. I have dark on and with a dark strap, so sorry about that. You'll open like you're coming into a wide pigeon with the right leg. The left hand pulls the right heel towards the hip, and then the right hand holds just outside the outer knee. So the strap is going up what's that muscle? The peroneum. I always want to call it the peritoneum, and I know where that is, so that's not correct. All right, so you push the strap, the leg into the strap as the arms hold the strap down. Do you feel that? So you're crossing the body like this. Yeah, like you're doing a number 4 pose. But the heel starts to come closer to your left shoulder. There you go. And I like to hold up, fairly close to the, do you feel as you push, so your right heel is not resting on your thigh, it's away from it, maybe close to it. And then push the outside of the leg into the strap. Can you feel that? And the more you bring the right heel towards your left shoulder, bringing the shin straight across your body. There you go. So you just exhale, push out, inhale and soften. It's a different way to flexors and to strengthen at the same time. So as you pull the heel, the left heel towards, the right heel towards the left shoulder, the outer right knee pulls away from the right shoulder, moves it away, and just square it across. And release. Shake it off, windshield wiper, or stretch the legs long. And then side B, both knees bent, neutral back waist is off the floor, side ribs moving towards the floor, snuggle your shoulder blades underneath you, particularly the bottom tips snuggle together, top of the shoulder blades slide wider apart. And then come just regular straight leg hamstring stretch. Back waist, tilt the sits bones so they drop towards your right heel, so the back waist can get a little more time there. Pull the belly button down towards the spine as you pull the toes towards your forehead without collapsing your back waist. It will come a little closer, it has to, but you keep working for the tilt in the hips. The sits bones move towards the floor as his bones lift away from the floor. Just a good hamstring stretch here. Soften the jaw, soften the neck. And then open the knee out like you're coming into number 4 pose. In fact, you can start there. That's a good way to start. And then the hands come up close to the foot and the knee on either side. So it's going, the strap is just sliding down your peroneum. I keep crossing it over. Pull more with your right hand and stabilize with the left. So in fact, let the left knee move away from the ribs as the right hand helps pull the left heel towards the right side of the body. Keep pushing the outer left knee away from the body into the strap as the right hand's pulling the heel towards the right shoulder. Oh, go deep. Go deep here. You can adjust by pulling the shin more parallel to the floor. That opens a different kind of stretch. Moving the outer left hip away from the belly, away from the side ribs helps. Oh. Flexing the foot and pushing through the sole of the left foot adds another little juice. Ah. And release. Windshield wiper. Find your block. All right, just as we did the one-legged air chair pose, one-legged bridge. So Mary, you can do this with your back end fish blocks. So the two blocks, you just might need blankets under your foot rather than a block. So if having the head below the heart is not where you want to go today, you can do regular fish and it works it's just as hard. There's nothing lost by it. So come into a bridge prep pose. Put the block near your right foot, elbows in robot, bend the arms in robot, elbows, fingers towards the ceiling, elbows down and hugging in. To draw the bottom tips of the shoulder blades towards each other and then widen the tops of the shoulder blades. It's like you're pushing your outer shoulders out without pulling the bottom tips in. It's like a seesaw principle. Then that will probably lift your ribs, certainly did mine. Bottom ribs slide towards the hips, the pelvis, so the belly engages. Back waist is softly lifting from the floor, just not smashed. Place your right foot on the block. The block's just under the foot. Yeah, you have to move the block so it feels like you're not out of whack. But again, like with the chair, one-legged chair pose, this is to remind you. So if you are using the blocks under your back, put blankets under there, something to remind that foot not to press down. So you're not pressing into your right foot. It's just resting there. Push into your elbows and lift your hips. Snuggle your shoulder blades more underneath you. And you might have a little bit of weight on the right foot, but see if you can shift more into the left foot, the left leg. You don't have to go high here. And then keep pressing until you can hover the right foot off the block. Maybe it's just tiptoed, maybe it's touching, but there's no weight on it. Again, the hips don't have to go high to feel it. And you notice the left hamstring has to engage more. The glutes have to engage, particularly the left side. Right side, not so much. Oh, and slowly lower. Whew. Flip the block over to the other side. Now the left leg gets to take a break. The right leg is working. Again, set the upper body, press into the elbows, lift your chest, snuggle your shoulder blades underneath you. Puff the chest up, slide the ribs down towards your hips and the belly button in. Keep that, push into the right foot and lift. You might have a tiny bit of weight on the left, that's fine, but just noticeably most of your weight into your right foot, your right leg. Push down, particularly into the right heel. Hug, squeeze the muscles around the legs, engage the right glutes, the right hamstring, and lift your left knee. Maybe it just hovers over the block. Maybe the left knee just comes straight up towards the ceiling. Breathe here. Ooh, soften the jaw, soften the neck. Don't collapse the chest. The heart keeps lifting. To go deep, we have to have an open heart. You keep pumping it open, lifting it. And then exhale, release. Take your block and come into a supported bridge pose, sliding the block under your hips. Snuggle the shoulder blades underneath you. Relax your arms at your side, or you can hold the block or Interlace the hands behind the back if your arms are long enough, just down by your side, palms up. And enjoy the rest. And then as you're ready, you can either stay here for final relaxation if that's pleasant for you, or lift your hips off the block and come into your final relaxation. Cover up as you need to. Be warm. And take your time to find the perfect place for you. Wiggle fidget as much as you need to for the first 30 seconds, and then find a sweet stillness. And I remember when I learned, I was probably practicing yoga for quite a while, when I learned that actually originally the whole practice of all these poses were to get your body ready for meditation, for pranayama, for the quiet, deeper acts, for resting. That's why Shavasana feels so sweet at the end of a practice. Begin to deepen your breath. Gradually wake, stretching, moving, taking your time. Move the muscles in the face, yawn, or just pinch the face and stretch it out. And roll to your side and rest there for a few moments. Drawing in, going deeper. Now on your next inhale, press yourself up to a seated position and sit well. And pause here for a few moments. Come to your breath again, just as we do in the beginning of class. And do a short pranayama of a box breath where you're inhaling for 4, exhale, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Very gentle, very sweet. We do the box breath, the even inhale, exhale, for stability, for steadiness. And then when we begin to lengthen the exhale, and you can do it, just happens for me, just kind of as I become steady, then I feel safe and relaxed, and I can extend the exhale to a count of 6 or 8. And the holding at the top and bottom of the breath, don't bring a lot of energy to the hold. Don't force the hold. It takes almost as long as it does to swallow. You have to hold your breath to swallow. It's about that long. It's very soft. And don't rush, but on your next exhale, come back to your normal, easy breath. Just notice that normal now is just softer, easier, sweeter. Draw your palms together in front of your heart center. May we all be well, happy, and peaceful. Namaste.